guys, the purpose of this video is simply to read this article regarding the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipeline explosions. An exceptionally strange event that confused the absolute hell out of me because I was sitting here trying to figure out who could this possibly benefit and for what reason. Um, because if on any side that you look at this, it is escalatory, and like how would it benefit Russia if the goal is to eventually open the pipeline at some point, possibly, right? Where they would be earning billions of dollars by transporting just mountains of natural gas. So if Russia did it, they sort of okay, if Russia did it, that is the most nefarious situation for the reason being that they don't ever plan to reconcile with the West. If they don't ever plan to reconcile with the West, then there's a much bigger agenda here in terms of meaning that they want to defeat the West entirely, which I have suspected since the very beginning of the Ukraine war that that war really was just a proxy from the very beginning to sort of slide the West in. Perhaps this is all a ruse, with the U.S. sending, billions of dollars worth of weapons. Perhaps this was all planned to weaken the West. And it really is quite literally just a proxy for Russia. I'm just sitting here and thinking, is this land in Ukraine really all that important? I mean, Russia has all the grain in the world 10 times over. They could feed themselves 10 times over. They have all the minerals and natural resources you could ask for. So this must be some kind of ruse to take down the West. So in that case, it is a possibility that they actually blew up their own pipeline. The fact that it was an intentional explosion is undeniable. Supposedly, there were American special forces spotted nearby before this happened. I don't know how valid that is. It probably isn't. Um, but just keep in mind, guys, that what they're saying is that the damage to this pipeline is such that it would take either months to repair or it would be gone forever, depending on how much salt water got into the pipelines and corroded the pipes. So, and there's another pipeline through Norway that's complete that's going to bring natural gas to Central Europe, but it's only 5% of the capacity of the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines. So, if it was Russia, um, I guess it's a clear sign that they're never stopping. That this is it. They're going forward with their plan to take down the Western world, Russia and China and the rest of them together. So if it was America, um, then America has some sort of weird suicide mission on their part, or they think that they're hurting Russia, perhaps. Personally, I do think it was the wet America that did it. Um, it's if they did, it's like one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. But for some reason, I do think that this was an American CIA operation or something like that. Um, just to hurt Russia. Either way, um, whatever it was, it's escalatory because it's outside of Ukraine, right? So let me just read this article and then we'll close out the video. Something really strange happened on Monday. Large underwater explosions were detected in the precise areas of the sea where the Nord Stream pipeline system is now leaking. In fact, the explosions were so large that they actually registered on the Richter scale. If someone wanted to purposely damage the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines, very large explosions would be needed because those pipelines are extremely thick. So it appears that it was a deliberate act of sabotage. And this is what many European officials are now alleging. But if that is the case, who is behind it? At this point, we just don't know. But there are certain facts we do have. The following are 14 things we know about the mysterious explosions. We are being told that the sections of the pipeline were damaged are 70 to 90 meters below sea level. So someone would need to go down pretty deep. It is extremely unlikely that these pipelines could have been ruptured by accident because they're extremely thick. Steel pipe itself has a wall of 1.6 inches and is coated with steel reinforced concrete up to 11 centimeters thick. Each section of the pipe weighs 11 tons. It is being reported that explosions were heard in the areas where gas is now leaking out of the pipeline. Explosions were heard near the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines, where gas is now leaking into the Baltic from 3 holes. Scientists have confirmed, while chronic safety concerns have led to a 5-mile exclusion zone being imposed around the affected area. The Swedish National Seismic Network detected one explosion that registered 1.9 on the Richter scale and another one that registered 2.3. Two powerful underwater explosions were detected on Monday in the same area of the sea as the Nord Stream gas leaks, according to the Swedish National Seismic Network. The monitoring network said the first explosion occurred on Monday at 2:03 a.m. Swedish time, the magnitude of 1.9, followed by a second at 7:04 p.m., magnitude of 2.3. The largest leak is spreading bubbles a good kilometer in diameter. It comes after shocking footage released early today by the Danish military from a flyover of the affected region showing huge swaths of sea near the Danish island. German officials are claiming this is a deliberate act of sabotage. Germany is reportedly far less hesitant, however, with officials believing sabotage is virtually the only plausible cause for the leaks. We can't imagine a scenario that isn't a targeted attack. Everything speaks against a coincidence. Interestingly, this incident took place just one day after thousands of protesters took to the streets and demanded the opening of the Nord Stream 2. Thousands of protesters took to the streets in the northeastern German seaside town of Lubmin on Sunday, urging officials to put into service the halted Nord Stream 2 pipeline. The Prime Minister of Denmark also believes that this was a deliberate act of sabotage. Danish Prime Minister has said her government believes that the leaks were caused by deliberate actions, adding that the gas supply pipeline will be out of action for a week. A week? No, that's not what they're saying anymore. The Ukrainians are blaming Russians for the explosions. Comes after Kiev's presidential advisor said on Twitter the large-scale gas leak is nothing more than a terrorist attack planned by Russia as an act of aggression towards the EU, seeking to destabilize the economic situation in Europe and cause pre-winter panic. It is being reported that the CIA recently warned Germany about the attack on the pipelines. That's why I said about the CIA's operation. Recently warned Berlin about increasing signs about a possible planned attack. A Polish member of European Parliament seems absolutely convinced that the United States was behind the attack. A former Polish defense minister, Radek Sikorski, has attributed to the United States the sabotage of 2 pipelines, Nord Stream 1 and 2, which carry natural gas from Russia to Germany. Thank you, USA. Sikorski wrote on Twitter. Sikorski was Minister of National Defense in 2005-2007 and served as Deputy Minister of National Defense and Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs previously. He is currently an elected member of the European Parliament. Okay. Joe Biden previously threatened to end the Nord Stream 2 pipeline if Russia invaded Ukraine. If Russia invades, and there will no longer be a Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and we'll bring an end to it. Okay. So much conflicting information. It's kind of making my head spin. Victoria Nuland has previously threatened the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. If Russia invades Ukraine one way or another, Nord Stream 2 will not move forward. Meanwhile, European officials are just gathered for a ceremony to mark the opening of the new Baltic pipe. Okay, that's the one from Norway I'm talking about. I'm not going to read that. All right, guys. In conclusion, all this conflicting, ridiculous information. My personal opinion, okay, maybe it's unpopular. Maybe it is popular. I really don't know. I think it was the US, and I think they all blame it on Russia. But it was the US who did it. For what purpose exactly, I don't know. But I just, my gut is telling me, my spider senses are telling me the US did it. What do you think?